The US is considering making changes to controversial Stand Your Ground laws. We've heard a lot about those laws in the Zimmerman trial. Well, Jasmine Rand is the Trayvon Martin family lawyer, and she joins me now from Fort Lauderdale, Florida. Thank you for joining us, what must be a very difficult and very busy time for you. First of all, do you and the Martin family support the Department of Justice's bringing civil charges against George Zimmerman?
Absolutely. We're very thankful that after the not guilty verdict that we heard on Saturday, that the federal government, including President Obama, has issued a statement supporting the family and calling for introspection into our communities to ensure that all of our citizens are receiving equal justice. And that was followed up with a statement from Eric Holder saying that he does intend to pursue federal criminal civil rights violations against George Zimmerman.
But they're difficult to prove, aren't they? How confident are you?
They're difficult to prove, but I'm confident this case has put forth a plethora of evidence to support that George Zimmerman was motivated primarily by racial hatred. We have several calls that George Zimmerman placed to 911 prior to the call that he placed regarding Trayvon Martin reporting black males as committing suspicious activity on the property. And when he got out of the car, he said, "These effing punks, these a-holes, they always get away." And I think it was very clear that George Zimmerman was not going to get another one get away.
Right. And how strongly are the Martin family and yourself considering bringing their own case against Zimmerman?
Right now, we don't feel like it's the appropriate time to really discuss a civil lawsuit, although we are certainly entertaining the idea of it. We're more focused on trying to ensure that all citizens in the United States, regardless of their skin color, get equal justice in light of this not guilty verdict.
And it's been a few days since that verdict. Have you had time to reflect on why you think you lost that trial?
I think that it was an uphill battle from the very beginning. I think one of the most critical mistakes in the entire case was the Sanford Police Department's failure to arrest George Zimmerman. That created issues in terms of evidence and evidence gathering. They allowed George Zimmerman to leave that evening with critical evidence all over his person. We were in a very conservative venue and jurisdiction, but I haven't spent as much time thinking about the individual jurors and their mindset as I have about where do we go from here and what can we do. And I want to thank, because I know that this program has a far reach, I want to thank the international community on behalf of the family. We've had an outpour of love from all over the world. I've had calls from Morocco, from Jamaica, from Colombia, literally the entire world. It feels like we're standing on their shoulders, and because of their love, we're able to try to keep fighting to create positive change so this doesn't happen again.
Of course, there was huge reaction in the US. There still is, in fact, protests across different cities to this verdict. How are the Martin family reacting to that, and do they think that race was a major factor in this verdict?
We believe that race was a factor in the entire way that this case came about. The fact that there was no arrest, it may have played a part into the verdict. I think that the defense built their argument around justification for racial profiling. The last witness that we heard Mark Omar bring to the stand said that a black man had broken and entered into her home. And he seemed to use that as a justification for George Zimmerman shooting Trayvon Martin. He can no more put the sins of the person that broke into this woman's apartment on Trayvon Martin because of the color of his skin than we can put the sins of the Boston bomber and the Aurora movie theater shooter and the Newtown school shooter on every single white man in America. And we really have to, as Americans and as a nation, get out of that mentality that you can hold a person accountable and take their life simply based on the color of their skin.
Right, and Jasmine, I realize you're wearing a hoodie there. Is that on purpose? Are you making a statement?
Yes, and I think that a lot of changes come in a courtroom, but some of those changes don't come in a courtroom. And I think that a lot of changes that this case is going to bring about is from the people. It's from people all over the world who have stood beside us. They've put their hoodies up, and I want this hoodie to be a message to them that we, the legal team, we have our hoodies up, and we have a higher calling even than to be an attorney. And as Charles Hamilton Houston called us to do, we have an obligation to be social engineers. And when the law doesn't get it right, we have the ability to peacefully and conscientiously object when the law gets it wrong.
Okay, Jasmine Rand, the Martin family lawyer, thank you so much for your time.